Hi everyone, I'm Mark Bailey and I build search tools to help people break down their brick walls when researching their family tree online. And that's what this talk is about today, how to use those search tools to break down your brick walls. Now most people get stuck at some point in their research when using the standard forename, surname style searching for their ancestors. And I'm going to show you alternative ways of searching and also how tools can find extra ancestors for you. Now let's start with Smart Search. So Smart Search is a technology that we've developed that links records together to make it easier to find the records for your ancestor. In this particular case, we're looking at a marriage record. So for civil registration records, you have one record for the bride and one record for the groom. Most people can find that groom pretty easily because you know their full name. It's much harder to find the bride because the bride would be recorded under her maiden name. However, Smart Search merges records after 1911 for bride and groom together. So you can look for a Joe Bloggs marrying a Jane, or in this case, I'm looking for Paul McCartney marrying Linda. So I'm looking for James McCartney because James is Paul's first name. James McCartney marrying a Linda, and I get two results. Those two results are actually the same couple. If you find two results for what looks like your ancestors, just view both of those records. If they both have the same volume and page number, you'd be able to tell that they're likely to be actually the same couple. And what's happened is usually the bride has been recorded twice, once under her former partner's surname, in this case, as C, and also once under the maiden name of the bride as well. So Smart Search doesn't just stop there. Once you've found one record, it tries to go away and find more records. So you can see on the list of icons, the list of buttons you've got, there's a person holding a baby. If you click that icon of a person holding a baby, it then goes away and finds all the children born to that married couple. So straight away you can see Mary, Stella and James listed there on the screen. So it's very quick and easy once you found one record to then find more and more records and work your way further and further back. Another tool we have on the site is our map tool, which enables you to display a heat density map of results for a particular search across one of our nationwide record sets, such as census or birth, marriage and death records. Now, what I really recommend you do here is just type in your surname into the search and enter no other refinement. Go to the census and pick the 1841 census because it's the earliest census available and it was before the mass migration around the country, before industrialization. What you'll often find is the origin of a particular surname. In this case, I've typed in the surname of Dickens, and looking at the 1841 results map, you can see that Dickens obviously originates in Northamptonshire. Now, of course, if you've got a name like Smith, Jones or Williams, most of the map is going to be red, but it just shows you, for those of us with less common names, you're able to see where your particular surname comes from. And once you've found the 1841 map, you can then go through the years of census to 51 to 61, all the way up to the 1911 census, and see how that map changes over time. In this particular case, you can see in 1911 the Dickens family are moving up towards Lancashire and Yorkshire, but you can also see a path leading down to London. Now, our most popular search tool on the Jihadist is our keyword search. It's really easy to use. You can enter a forename, a surname, and then as many keywords as you know about your particular ancestor. We fully transcribe our records, so your keyword could be an occupation, a birthplace, a street address, a wife's name, a year, a date, an age. You can use all of these things as a keyword to narrow down your search. Another thing to point out is that I've used a filter in this particular example, looking for my ancestor Thomas Bailey. And you can see the filter is set to phonetic. So if you remember, right at the start of the talk, we discussed this sort of verbal communication that went on for all these records, whether it's census records, you're telling the census enumerator who's in your household before the 1911 census, birth, marriage and death records, you're telling the registrar, parish records, you're telling the vicar who's to be baptised, married or buried. So because of this verbal communication, you need to think about all the various ways of spelling your name, but still pronouncing it the same. Now, most sites try to offer a name variant match. The problem with name variant matching is it covers a huge variety of different versions. For example, my surname Bailey would match against Bayliss, Baylith, Baylison, really irrelevant results from my search. If I concentrate on just searching for the sound, that's how we've built the phonetic filter. It doesn't search for variations upon a spelling, it searches for the sound that you type in. So we're searching for the sound of Bailey in this case. So if I show you all the variety of ways you can spell Bailey but still pronounce it the same, it enables you to cover a wide range of options, yet it's so refined it's only come back with 2 results. And those 2 results are actually father and son. So we zoom into one of those results, you'll see what we've done is produce like a little extract of each person on the screen. So you can see a lot of detail about a person before having to try and view the record and view the image. So it's very quick to scroll down a list of results. In this case, we've got Thomas Bailey, and you can see from the spelling there that he didn't spell his name out to the census enumerator at the time. His wife is Charlotte, they're both aged 46. Thomas was born in 1815 and is an agricultural labourer. He was born in Lydd in Kent and living in the Romney Marsh area. So you get a lot of detail to see if that's your ancestor or not. If you're not sure still, you can just mouse over that household icon and it'll instantly show you all the other members in that particular household. So it's very quick to see if it's the right family or not and move on to the next result. So the power of the keyword search is its flexibility. You can enter as much information or as little information as you want to refine your results. However, we always recommend just starting with 1 or 2 keywords and building that up if you need to refine your results further. So to illustrate the flexibility of the keyword search, one of our users came to us and said that they found an ancestor with a really unusual occupation listed in the census. And the only way she can explain this occupation being recorded is that the census enumerator must have come to the household after the husband had had a long day at work, and when he was asked what his wife did for a living, he said, well, she just drinks tea all day. So her official occupation in the census is tea drinker. So I've not had to enter a forename or a surname. I've literally just put the 2 keywords there of tea drinker, and I found one result, a Hannah Clowes, in the 1851 census. But it doesn't need to be a crazy keyword like tea drinker. If you're trying to find Charles Dickens, for example, there's a few thousand for Charles Dickens in the census, you can just use the keyword of author. Again, you narrow right down to that one result you're after. And like I say, it doesn't have to be an occupation. It could be a birthplace, an age, a year, an address, anything you know that might be on that record you can use as a keyword to refine your results. We also have an address option to find an address rather than a person, which is handy for tracing a particular house through the different years of census. So in this particular example, instead of searching for a person there, I said I want to find an address in 1881 in the County of London. I've just put the street name in of Downing Street, and then it shows me all the people living at Downing Street. And of course, at number 10, Downing Street, the head of the household listed there is William Gladstone, the Prime Minister at the time. So it's very quick and easy to use to jump to a particular address in the census. However, the address search actually has a secondary use. So going back to our Hannah Clowes, our tea drinker from a second ago, you can see that the address is a clickable link. And you'll notice this on all of our census results, the address is a clickable link. If you click that link, it then goes to show you everyone listed on that particular street. And I really recommend anytime you find a new relative to just click that street and see if there's any other relatives living next door or nearby. For example, in the high street we see Samuel Clowes. That was the chap that called his wife a tea drinker. But 2 doors down from Samuel is another Hannah that turns out to be his cousin. And 2 doors down from Hannah is her brother George Clowes. So like I say, this isn't just a big coincidence. This happened very regularly in the early years of census, especially families would live very close together, often on the same street. And it just takes us 2 seconds to click that link to see if there's any extra families you can add to your research. So all these tools I've shown you are all about trying to narrow down right to that one result for your ancestor using any information you know to refine your results. However, what happens if you can't use that information? What happens when you're looking for the black sheep in your family tree, or in this case, goat? Well, black sheep tended to have certain characteristics. Some black sheep are forgetful, so they give a completely different place of birth and random ages throughout the censuses, so you can't use their year of birth or their place of birth to try and track them down. Other black sheep are restless, and in each year census they're doing a completely different occupation. And because they're doing all these different occupations, they're travelling up and down the country. so you can't use where they're living or their profession to try and track them down. Other black sheep have got a really common name like John Smith or John Jones. Really common names that make it hard to try and sift through all the other people of that name to try and find your particular ancestor. The worst black sheep are the John Smiths, who are forgetful and restless. So what do you do when you can't use any of that information to try and track an ancestor down? Well, there is still something that stays consistent. They're going to keep the same wife, unless they've run off with a mistress, but let's ignore that for now. So let's say that John was married to Emma, and together they had a son called Mark. Well, instantly there's 3 extra bits of information that I can use to refine my search. And you can do that using a tool we've developed called Family Search. So this time, instead of saying I want to find a person or an address, I said I want to find a family. In the 1901 census, I've picked all counties because I don't know whereabouts in the country they were living at the time. I said their surname is Smith, John is the head, Emma is the wife, and Mark is the son. Just entering those 3 key pieces of information enables me to refine my results right down from thousands to hundreds to just the one result for the family I want to find. So it just goes to show it doesn't matter what information you know about your family, whether it's a place or a date or an age or an address, or in this case, family forenames, you can refine right down to the record of your ancestors. And just like the keyword search, the family search is as flexible as you want it to be. You can enter as many people as you want, clicking that Add Family Member button, or you could just do a search with just 2 family forenames, and it would give you hundreds of thousands of results, but it would enable you to do so. To illustrate this flexibility, one of our users came to us with an interesting ancestor that had twins, and those twins were born on a bank holiday. Unfortunately for the twins, the parents decided to call them Bank and Holiday. So to find them in the census, I've not had to enter a surname or a county. I've literally just said across the whole of the 1881 census, I'm looking for forename 1 of Bank and forename 2 of Holiday. And I find Bank and Holiday Munslow, aged 2 months in the 1881 census. So moving on, we have an all record search that enables you to search for all of our records in one go. In fact, most family research websites have an ability to search all the records in one go. Unfortunately, not many people use that tool because you just get far too many results to try and trawl through because there's no easy way to refine your search. However, our all record search tool is combined with the power of the keyword tool. So you can enter those relevant keywords to narrow right down to the one ancestor. And in theory, you should be able to find all of the records for one ancestor in one quick and easy search. Now that sounds far too good to be true. In fact, it sounds like the holy grail of genealogy, being able to find all the records for a person in one quick and easy go. But let me show you an example of how this works. So to make it a bit harder for myself, I've used a common name of John Turner. I've entered one keyword of Cradley, where he was born, and I've entered his year of birth of 1871, give or take a couple of years. So what that does is just comes back with 4 results. And if I zoom into those 4 results, you can see it produces like a life story of a particular person. In this case, the first result, you can see John Allen Turner was baptised on the 31st of December 1871 in Worcestershire in Cradley. Then 10 years later, the family have moved to Oxfordshire, and now we can see he's now aged 9, is a scholar in the Oxfordshire 1881 census. Then 10 years down the line, he's moved to Carnarvonshire in 1891. You can tell by the relationship of servant that has moved out of the family home, is now aged 19, working as a butcher's assistant. And finally, we have him in Hertfordshire in 1911. John Allen Turner is now married to Sarah and has opened up his own butcher shop in Watford. So even though he travels from Worcestershire to Oxfordshire to Carnarvonshire to Hertfordshire across 4 different counties, we found him in that one quick and easy search. Now I've been asked before why I've used the parish of Cradley rather than the county of Worcestershire as a keyword to refine my search. Perhaps if I used Worcestershire, I could have found even more results. Well, perhaps that's true, but unfortunately, boundaries changed throughout the census years. So although Cradley could be in Worcestershire in one year, perhaps it may have changed counties in another year's census. But also, if you don't specify the county of your birthplace, the enumerator could write down whatever they saw fit. So though the vicar knows that Cradley is in Worcestershire, the census enumerator in Oxfordshire decides that Cradley is in Herefordshire. Then the Carnarvon census enumerator decides Cradley is in Staffordshire. Well, in 1911, John Allen Turner is filling out the record himself, so he knows he was born in Cradley, Worcestershire. So that's why I've used the keyword of the parish rather than the county. Now, for those of you that have been paying particular attention, you'll realise that this is too good to be true. I'm missing a record in 1901. Well, what happened? I asked myself the same question. Obviously, the keyword of Cradley isn't working for me. And I just looked back at my results. In 91, he's a butcher's assistant. In 1911, he's a butcher. So I just entered the keyword of butcher and I found him. And lo and behold, in 1901 in Oxfordshire, he decides to say he was born in Malvern rather than Cradley. So I'm afraid I can't help it if your ancestor decides to change their answers throughout the different census years. But I hope this goes to show how quick and easy it is to chop and change your keywords from one thing to another and then try and find all those extra results to add to your research. You'll also notice that each result on the master search has that little save icon, and that enables you to save all those extra results into TreeView, which is our online family tree builder. So TreeView supports GEDCOM 100%, so if you have a family tree on another website like Ancestry, FamilyPass or MyHeritage, or indeed on a piece of software like Family Tree Maker, Roots Magic, Family Historian, you don't have to enter your family tree details all over again. You can simply export your family tree from one of those packages or websites as a GEDCOM export and import that file into TreeView and save all your data again. So it's very quick and easy to transfer your tree across into TreeView. Now TreeView actually exists as 3 different versions. There's the online family tree builder we've just seen. There's also an app for iOS and Android devices, both tablets and phones. And there's also the software for Windows and Mac. Now all of these versions of TreeView keep in sync with each other. So you could take your phone down to the local record centre, find some new research about your ancestors and enter it into your family tree as you're there. And when you get home, your software on Windows or Mac will instantly sync and update with all that extra information, so you don't have to enter it twice. The benefit of the software for Windows and Mac is it also enables you to produce much more custom reports and charts. For example, here's a fan chart. We have a map report as well, and completely custom family trees, enabling you to drag and drop people wherever you want them on the screen. You can add background images, you can add titles and use different fonts and have annotations. You can include foreground images as well. And when you come to print that chart, you'll have 2 options. You're either able to print out on an A4 printer and it will chop up your family chart into A4 chunks that you can then tape all back together again, or enables you to download a PDF of the whole chart in one go that you can then take to your local printer in town, who will be able to print it out onto one nice big sheet of paper for you. To get access to all of these search tools, take advantage of our special offer for RootsTech attendees today, meaning our top level diamond subscription is just £99.95, or roughly $140 US. It will also give you a free 1-year subscription to Discover Your Ancestors online magazine, full of helpful genealogical articles, features and news. And we'll also give you a £10 voucher off of TreeView, the powerful family tree builder for Windows, Mac and mobile devices. To take up this special offer, just scroll down to the promotions section below. Thank you very much and enjoy the rest of your day.